I built an AI crypto quant that can take signals from Binance for any cryptocurrency. It can overlap it with the latest news in the market, and it will actually give you a technical analysis right inside of your Telegram chatbot. So I'm inside of Ask Ava, which is my Telegram assistant, and I just typed in BTC, which is obviously Bitcoin. And then you can see here that it gave me the Bitcoin USD market analysis and trading recommendation. And this has all come from inside of the automation. So it's got group candlestick data, it's got market analysis, it's got long-term analysis, both the 1 day and referencing 1 hour. It's got the market sentiment. So this is basically the news that it's pulling in. And this could be news in the last 3 days. And it's using that and it's overlapping it with the current market conditions. And then it's even giving you spot trading recommendations. It gives you an entry price, a stop loss, a take profit, a rationale, and it's even got a long-term strategy as well. The last step here is a final sentiment summary. So it'll basically give you a sentiment, a category, a score, a rationale, both for short-term and long-term, and it gives you a final summary for this currency pair. This automation is triggered by a Telegram bot, and if you're not sure how to do that, go over to my channel and I'll show you how to create a Telegram bot. Super easy, and it's quite useful actually. The next thing we want to do is we need to format the message for Binance because it has to be in uppercase. So if I look inside of here, the output was BTC, and then I've just paired it with the most popular currency pair on Binance. But the point is that it has to be uppercase, and that's what this code node does. It will basically turn it from lowercase into uppercase, and it's basically formatted for Binance. The next 3 nodes here are HTTP request nodes. The first one is a 50-minute candle. The second one is a 1 hour candle, and the third one is a 1 day candle. So if I go inside of here, I'm basically calling the API inside of Binance because it's free, and it's a get method because we're pulling it off from their servers. And for this, I'm using the dynamic field from the previous node, from the format Binance node. And that's because this is obviously an automation, and you can duplicate the same node and just change it for hour and 1 day candles. And then because we have the outputs here, which are 200, we then need to use a set node to basically create a field for this. Okay, so if I go inside of here, this is the set 50 minutes. And all I've done is I've used JSON to create a field called time frame and candles, which is just using the data from the previous node. You can see here that there's a string called time frame and it's called 15 minutes. So I've done the same for all 3. So you can duplicate the same node. And then for the last node here, this is to grab the crypto news. So for this, I'm using newsapi.org. Head over to News API. You can sign up for a free account. It's completely free. Grab your API key. And then what you want to do is you want to turn the query parameters on. And then we're going to use a couple of parameters for this. Okay, so the first one is Q. And this is just a search term. So what are we searching for? What are we filtering the news articles that come in for? So for this, we can do crypto, we can do Bitcoin or CoinDesk. And again, you can basically filter the news for whatever it is you're trading on. Then for this, the next one is from. So I don't want to return all items because there's going to be hundreds of thousands there. It's just going to return the last 3 days. And then the third one is sort by because I only want the most popular articles. Again, you're going to get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of articles if you don't have these filters in place. And so this is sorted by popularity, which is a field inside of News API. And the last one is the API key, and that's what you get free from News API. And so when you run it, for this example, I got 590 articles, and you can see there's a ton of articles in here. Some of them might not be in English, but that's fine because the AI agent will be able to translate everything anyway. So don't worry about that too much. And then once we have that, we then want to filter the news. Okay, so if I go inside of here, there's some fields that I want to use, which is title and description. So I'm basically just filtering the news variables to use that and filter and use that for my market analysis in the next node. So when you run that, you're going to have basically these variables here that I've asked it to create. And then once we've done this part, we can then merge the timeframes, which is the next merge node here. So we just want to append the 3 inputs. So the 3 inputs are going to be the 50-minute candle, the 1 hour candle, and the 1 day candle. And on this side here, now that we have the news, we can then use an AI agent or an OpenAI module to basically look at market sentiment. So this is running 4.1 mini. And for the prompt here, I've just asked it to basically tell it to say that you're a highly intelligent and accurate sentiment analyzer specializing in cryptocurrency markets. And I've basically plugged in the filtered articles from the previous node, which is an array, which is what this square brackets denotes, and it's an object. And then we've given it 2 approaches. The first one is short term, the second one is long term. And then I've basically asked it to give it an output like this, which is JSON. So we've got a variable called long term and short term, and it's got category, score, and rationale. And this is what the AI is going to generate for us. So when you run it, you're going to see a score, you're going to see category, you're going to see short-term sentiment and a rationale, and long-term and score, positive, etc. Make sure you test that as well and when you run it, and also save it. Then now, because we have 600 items, as you can see here, when I ran it, it's got 600 items. I can't do much with that. It's going to be very difficult for me to manipulate. So what I've done is I've added a code node to basically convert the JSON into an object. So I've taken 600 items and I've turned it into one object here. This is much easier to work with later downstream. And so that's all that this code here does. And you can see here that I haven't lost anything. I haven't lost any of the data, right? It's still 600 items, but it's now saved as one object. So I can scroll down here all through and find all 600 items. It's got the 1 day and the 15-minute time frames. Okay, so now that we have the charts, the candlestick charts, and we've got the market sentiment, we can now merge the two together and plug it into the technical analysis agent. Okay, so this is another merge node. You just plug these two in here and it's an append. And then because we've got two items, it's easier to basically manipulate this inside of the AI agent if we just turn it into an object. So that's what this code node does here. It's now going to do it, take the two items and convert it into one object here. Now that we have the object, we can plug it into our technical analysis agent. So if I click inside of here, you're going to see a much longer prompt. So you are a highly intelligent and detail-oriented crypto market analyst, right? Specializing both in price action and sentiment. So I've given it some examples. I don't want to return raw JSON. And then I've given it some, guidelines for text, for bolding, etc. Step 1 is group the candlestick data, short term, medium term, long term. Step 2 is analyze the market in detail. And I've given it some advice and some guidelines. Now you can use any strategy, anything that you're familiar with. If you are a market trader and you've got a strategy that you've developed that works for you, you can plug that into here. You can plug it into the prompt and just make sure you give it examples and you give it context. As long as you do that and you test the output, you're gonna be fine. This is long-term analysis. I've given it step 3 to how to interpret the market sentiment. And this is just taking the content data from the convert object. Then the fourth step is to generate spot trading recommendations, which is what I'm doing. I mean, you could put in any trading style that you want in here. And the final output is going to be the sentiment summary and the fields that I've asked the previous AI agent to create. Okay. And then for the technical input data, it's just going to be the all candles field here from convert to object. And then when you run that, you're going to get an output that looks something like this. Probably makes more sense if I show you in the table format. And so before we can send it back to Ava inside of Telegram, I need to sanitize the message because there are some requirements with Telegram. The first one is you can only send 4,000 characters per message. Okay, so what I'm going to do in this instance, I'm going to split this up into 2 messages because there's more than 4,000 characters. And so this is what this does. It just basically sanitizes the output, which is HTML, and it's going to basically break it up into 2 parts. Okay, so I've got 2 messages here, as you can see. And that's just purely because of the requirements of Telegram. Then the last node is going to be a send message node in Telegram. So I'm going to send this to Ava, who's my Telegram bot. And you can see here that it's just a message, send message. The chat ID, you just get that from the first node. So if you go all the way back down to send message to Ava, this chat ID here, you know it's worked because it's got the same ID below. And then for the message, you just go back to the top and you just grab the sanitized message, which is this variable here. It's a string. You just drag and drop that. And there's one last thing, you want to add a parse mode and put in HTML because this is HTML. We're going to send it over as HTML into Telegram. And that's basically it. That's the entire automation done. And if you want this automation, head over to my school community. The link is in the description below. Inside of the community, I've got a bunch of classrooms here. I even show you how you can launch your own AI agency in 16 days, if that's what you want to do. You can also build a side hustle, or if you just want to get introduced into the world of AI and automations, this is the perfect community for you. But if you head over to AI automations and blueprints, I've actually got blueprints for both na2n.io and also make.com. And these blueprints cover all sorts of topics and automations that are built on this channel. So like I said, the link is below in the descriptions. Click on that and I'll see you on the inside. But before you go, do me a solid. Give me a thumbs up if you love the video. Sign up to the channel and become a subscriber if you haven't done so. Turn the notifications on so you know when the next video drops. And I'll see you next time. Ciao.